From the very beginning, director James Gunn said that he hoped Guardians of the Galaxy would become a film trilogy, but he was unsure whether or not he would actually stick around for a third one. However, after the success of Part 2, Gunn was officially hired as writer and director for 3, which was confirmed to be released after Avengers Endgame and set for May 2020. He finished his first draft of the script by July 2017 and said that he wanted to include many story elements and characters from the comics that had to be cut from the previous films, such as Adam Warlock and Cosmo the Space Dog, who sounds like a relative to Courage. And not long after, all the actors were confirmed to be reprising their roles.
Nothing else matters.
However, things suddenly took a turn for the worst. On July the 20th, 2018, a series of controversial tweets Gunn had made years prior resurfaced, which included references to rape and paedophilia, leading to him being booted from the project and Disney severing all ties with him. Gunn admitted fault to this and apologized for his actions, claiming them to have been distasteful jokes. You never see me regretting stuff from my past.
Makes no sense.
Despite this, many people still rallied for him to be rehired. A petition to reinstate Gunn as director reached 300,000 signatures, and the Guardians cast members released a statement expressing their support for him as well. Batista in particular said that he would demand to be released from his contract if Marvel did not use the script that Gunn had originally written for the film.
Yeah, there's a bit of an issue. It's a bittersweet conversation. No, it's a bitter conversation because I'm not really happy with what they've done with James Gunn. They're putting the movie off. It's on hold indefinitely, and to be honest with you, I don't know if I want to work for Disney.
You're welcome.
This debacle over Gunn's firing left an important question. How could they move forward on a project that had lost its distinctive creative voice? Disney and Marvel were keen to move the project forward as quickly as possible, and began searching for a new director to replace him. Taika Waititi was asked at first, but he flat out refused, stating, "Those are James's films. It would be like going into someone's house and saying, 'Hey, I'm your new dad, and this is how we make peanut butter sandwiches now.' It feels kind of awkward." Weird analogy, but okay. No one batted an eye when they did it for Iron Man.
You think?
After the success of his directorial debut A Star Is Born, Bradley Cooper was asked to direct, but he turned it down as he said he could never imagine directing someone else's script. However, in October 2018, it all changed, when Gunn was hired by Warner Brothers to direct The Suicide Squad for DC. And because Disney doesn't like seeing their rivals stealing their ex-boyfriends, literally the day after he was hired, Disney made the approach to rehire him for Guardians 3. Despite how badly he had been treated by the studio, Gunn did agree to come back, but only on 3 conditions. He had to finish making The Suicide Squad first, it would be his last movie for the MCU, and he would no longer tell people he wanted to suck off Tommy Pickles. Okay, that last one was made up. Disney agreed and production was put on hold in order to allow Gunn to finish making Suicide Squad, and James Gunn was officially rehired to write and direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Got a bad feeling about this.
He stated that a large part of the third movie was going to focus on Rocket and his backstory, as he felt that in order for such a silly character to exist, he had to have the saddest backstory in the whole universe, and started developing the idea that he had been genetically experimented on from birth by the film's villain, who would be trying to recapture him. He even considered writing a solo movie about Groot and Rocket without the other Guardians involved, but he realised that he needed to finish Peter Quill's story first, so he merged the 2 ideas into one screenplay. Not really finishing his story though, is it? You literally admit that he's coming back! In fact, why was this promoted and hyped as being the final one? The Guardians are still back together.
I need you here. We're building a new society. I need all the support I can get for those children out there.
Except Mantis. Yeah, this big emotional moment to Mantis leaving. Who the fuck cares about Mantis? But Groot, Nebula, Rocket, Drax, they're all still together. The Guardians are still protecting the galaxy. And Quill's coming back, so how the fuck is this the last one?
Beats me.
Don't get me wrong, it is an emotional moment as they say their goodbyes and leave Rocket in charge, but it means nothing when they literally announce right after that they'll be back!
Go to hell, you sick son of a bitch.
Furthermore, when deciding who would be the villain and the creator of Rocket, Gunn wanted to use Annihilus, but because of the character's association with the Fantastic Four, he wasn't sure if this would be allowed. So instead he chose the High Evolutionary, based on his twisted personality and motivation on Dr. Moreau from H.G. Wells's The Island of Dr. Moreau. However, the film's production start date was delayed by the COVID pandemic, and then again when when Gunn decided to write and direct the show Peacemaker, where he met actor Chukudi Iwuji, who he would choose to play the High Evolutionary.
You almost have to admire their pluck.
Production finally began in November 2021, and despite its setbacks, Gunn said that very little of the script changed before filming. He was also keen to focus on using practical effects as much as possible, only using CGI where absolutely necessary. This clearly worked, as the movie holds the record for the most makeup appliances used in a single film, with over 23,000 prosthetics used across more than 1,000 actors.
Did that look cool?
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was released on May 3rd, 2023, and was a smash hit, grossing $821 million worldwide, and was praised for its effects, performances, humour and soundtrack, many deeming it a fitting conclusion to the trilogy. Yeah, conclusion. But to be honest, the film is actually pretty good. Then again, I'm pretty sure I would call Freddy Krueger giving me a colonoscopy without any anaesthetic pretty good compared to the second one, so it is Phase 5, take what you can get.
What the hell?
I'll be honest, I wasn't actually keen on the whole Rocket origin story at first.
I will eat your heart.
The whole film being based on him being injured is just kind of a lazy idea for a sequel, but it's a social commentary on animal abuse, and it's a pretty good one at that. It's a very different way to take the superhero genre. This would also explain all the times in the previous films that he seemed to be obsessed with prosthetic limbs. But despite them just introducing these characters randomly in part 3, or part 32 depending on how you look at it, as the film progresses, I am shocked at how much they genuinely do get me to care. They have a great friendship, and the scenes where they bond and give themselves new names is really cute. But why does Teeth sound like Forrest Whitaker in The Crying Game?
Since you guys are my closest friends, and my only friends,
Why, it just sting me, Mr. Scorpion.
There's a scene where Rocket is determined to break them all out, and it's this big epic moment, but the thing is, as you watch it, you have a huge sense of dread inside you because you know fully well what's about to happen even before it does. But it doesn't make it any less tragic, it's heartbreaking. The CGI is usually always impressive anyway, but the animation of a scared baby Rocket shivering in fear, crying and barely being able to speak is actually spectacular. They create a lot of sympathy for this character in the CGI alone, and it leads to him risking his own life to save all of the other trapped animals as well, before realising that he actually is a raccoon. And we get a sick one-liner for it!
The name's Rocket. Rocket Raccoon.
Quill is a weird one this time around. The movie starts and he's clearly distraught from losing Gamora and now has a drinking problem. The issue is, it's only here at the beginning, and then I guess he went to an AA meeting off screen because he's absolutely fine for the rest of the movie. There's a scene where Nebula literally says it won't be easy to penetrate the shields to enter a planet, and then Quill easily penetrates the shields whilst talking to Mantis. This is now the third film we get the will they won't they shit with Quill and Gamora. But unlike 2, I think it works well and actually makes a lot of sense here. I mean, it's certainly different, and it's heartbreaking to see him being around Gamora and seeing the woman he loves, but she has no idea who he actually is.
Never pictured you as the Ravager type.
Who are you again?
I mean, you interacted with him when you were saving the universe and taking down your own father. You don't remember any of that? Pratt does give a solid performance as he expresses how he feels, but for most of the movie he just looks lost. He doesn't seem to even know what he's supposed to be doing. It's like he wandered on set and couldn't remember if he was doing Guardians or Jurassic World. Right, so what are we doing today? Raccoon, okay, got it!
You were abducted by Ravagers the same day he lost his daughter.
Oh, yeah, he was upset. My mom died. He screamed in my face. He pushed me out of the room.
Hey, that's what I said!
What did you say?
Speaking of which, James Gunn was reportedly not even upset by Gamora's death in Infinity War, as he had discussed it with the Russo brothers beforehand. Heartless bastard. But she is a complete bitch queen in this. When was she ever this evil in the original Guardians? They just turned her into Hitler for a laugh.
God, past Gamora's just mean.
She was always like that.
When? When was this?
Yeah, he has been pretty mopey ever since Gamora died.
She's not dead. She just doesn't remember anything from the past few years.
Nor should Tony, Natasha or Vision be, but fuck it. In fact, they even poke fun of the fact that she's alive.
Everyone else who died in the past stayed dead, not her. Why? Was it the magic cliff? I don't know. That's some freaking Infinity Stone scientist.
Hey, that's my job. She even randomly gets left out of the plot so the others can go and do the main mission, and during this time she suddenly has a change of heart and cares about Rocket. The fuck did that happen? And from that moment on, she's just a good guy because the plot says so. I don't think she has the character development that the movie thinks she has. Because 5 minutes later, she wants to abandon the prison as an abandoned ship. And she can now understand Groot. Yeah, sure, they're really close now, okay. To be fair though, Groot speaks English at the end and nobody reacts like it's any different, showing that the audience can now just understand him as well, which is a really nice touch. Cosmo the Space Dog is a great character, and it's no surprise that I love this running joke.
You're a bad dog.
Do not say that to me.
You are. You're a bad dog.
Take that back. Take back what you said that I'm a bad dog.
Nope.
I know you don't really think I am a bad dog.
I can't take it back if she is, in fact, a bad dog.
Oh, it never stops hurting.
And we get another sick one-liner.
She's a good dog.
Drax is back to being great. He can once again be taken seriously during the less comedic and emotional moments, and as a welcome change. Although him being semi-serious to being a complete joke to again being semi-serious just makes part 2 even more redundant when you think about it. Oh, who cares? He's hilarious again.
They won't just give us that information.
Well, that's why we're gonna break in.
Kill anyone who gets in our way.
Not kill anyone.
Kill a few people.
Kill no people.
Kill one guy, one stupid guy who no one loves.
You could have killed everyone in the wing.
Exactly, you idiots. I'm angry too.
Why didn't you tell us you knew their language this whole time?
Why didn't you ask?
Sowieso.
Hello, moron. But you need someone to protect you.
I don't.
Not in a bad way. Just because of your incredible weakness.
Damn it, Mantis! Why don't you ever think?
Are we pretending to be angry again? Mantis, you asshole!
Even if he does have a cliche line.
Pick on someone your own size.
And we have the cliche of a hero dying, but it's not their time, so they get sent back. They find some kids held prisoner in James Franco's basement, and it turns out that Drax is great with kids, which is oddly charming to see. He somehow makes it funny and sweet at the same time. But they continue their boner for fake out death. Stop doing this! And other times they mock cliches.
I don't need another speech by some impotent whack job whose mother didn't love him rationalizing why he needs to conquer the universe.
I'm so confused.
I'm not trying to conquer the universe. I'm perfecting it.
Ra's al Ghul? Now, I'm not a comic book guy, but I was under the impression that Adam Warlock was kind of a big deal. The movie opens with him absolutely kicking ass. Nebula is quite badass, but he beats the ever-loving shit out of her. There is quite a funny moment where we have all of this tension building up to the arrow hitting him, only for it to... But he then obliterates Drax. He's hyped as this huge, deadly, and devastating force, but after this, he just gets shoved to one side. He spends the rest of the film chilling with his mum, and he's merely background noise. I will be in the plot! No, I won't! And then he just shows up again to save Quill's life and nobody even cares. He brings him back in and everyone's like, yeah, move, Quill! And somehow bringing him back inside undoes the damage and now he's alive again? What exactly does Adam Warlock add to this story? He saves Quill's life and I guess he's the reason Rocket gets injured, so I guess without him the others wouldn't have learned his history, but... He's a wasted character, that's my point. Ah, that'll do it. Immortal being's biggest weakness is always a single stab wound.
It'll be okay.
Just like Sylvester Stallone, remember him? He's in the film. Look, there he is again. A vital character to this universe. As well as Caleb from Buffy. Yes, I know it's Nathan Fillion and he's been in a lot of other things, but fuck you, it's Caleb from Buffy.
I don't think so.
And it's a Guardians film, so like always, the comedy still works, but unlike part 2, they don't overdo it.
People on Earth die when they're like 50.
They die when they're 50?
I don't know, something like that.
What's even the point of being born?
Exactly.
Peter, you know this is an open line, right?
What?
We're listening to everything you're saying.
And it is painful.
And you're just telling me now?
We were hoping it would stop on its own.
But he is dying.
That's not dying. That's already dead. They'll think he's already dead.
They'll think we're here on a quest for revenge.
Drax, sit up.
That's what it's here for.
Drax, it isn't. It's made for people to sit shoulder to shoulder right next to each other. Get your boots off for pillows.
I find it hard to believe it doesn't have multiple purposes.
I'm sorry. My friend is a dumbass.
That's the same as you're dying.
Why do you criticize everything?
Why is it oblong then?
It was a totally different sound.
No, it wasn't. Dying. Dumbass. See?
Especially when Quill can't drive as he left Earth when he was so young. The movie also holds the record for the first ever F-bomb in Marvel history.
Press that in.
Okay. Now what?
Open the fucking door.
I don't know, it just seems like a really random line to waste it on. Mantis's powers are so weird, man. She makes this security guy fall in love with Drax, but it's not even that funny. It's just wasted and is then never mentioned again. And during a fight scene, she uses the powers so randomly to make people think they're cats and all sorts. Just use them to get out of the situation, you weirdo. Call off your men, stop killing us, join our team. Any of those would be fine. There's a scene where evil Gamora wants to leave, so she calls for help, and yeah, apparently this guy's entire body has been completely disintegrated, but the communication thingy is still perfectly intact. They come across some alien natives who don't understand a word they're saying, so Quill thinks just speaking louder will somehow help. I do love how they even invite them inside despite not knowing who they are or what the fuck they're saying. I must admit though, Groot having multiple guns is pretty kick-ass. But I am so sick of these movies having humans dive out of spaceships down to Earth and not dying in the air. You can say Quill is half god all you want, but the writers forgot he has powers, so it doesn't even count. And this trilogy has a real tendency to literally spell out characters' entire motivations.
When are you gonna stop using the excuse of being some big dumb clown for contributing nothing and the rest of us having to carry your slack?
Don't push him! You don't have the right to push him!
And you're no better. The only thing we can count on you for is when someone shows weakness, you'll be right there to support it.
Fine, I don't care. I know you need to find fault in everyone else to make yourself feel okay.
George Lucas? Is that you? And then they just move on like nothing even happened. The hell was the point in that? The heroes do seem to take their sweet ass time considering the ship is being destroyed and they're on a damn time limit, but they must save all the animals. Yeah, fucking Noah's Ark in this one. There's even a damn penguin. How is that cunt surviving? The movie ends with Quill returning to Earth to meet his grandfather, who he said was in his 90s. I mean, he's just not though, is he? And then we have two vital post-credit scenes of Rocket teaching people Earth music and then Quill having breakfast with his granddaddy. This movie is pretty good and way better than I thought it would be. There are some cliches in there and a couple of jokes that don't really land, but most of them do. They honestly tone down a lot of the issues I had with the last one. I like the dynamic between Quill and the new Gamora, and the story of Rocket honestly tugs at your heartstrings. The villain also gives a great performance and is genuinely terrifying at points. The motivation may be similar to other stories, but this one is essentially an animal abuser, so you can't help but root for Rocket. I expected to be deeply disappointed by this one based on how the MCU films have been as of late, but I can safely say that I was thoroughly surprised. Yep, all of them done. Bring on the Marvels.